Hello, my name is Sam. I'm a doctoral student in the History PhD program at Liberty University. I'm currently enrolled in the seminar on Scottish Reformation. The reason I am most interested in this topic is because my family heritage is Scottish. I have always found interest in the resilience of persecuted Christians and wanted to delve deep into understanding why the Covenanters specifically were persecuted against. This question and the foregone research is significant because what I have discovered, though other historians have touched on the implications of covenant intolerance, none that I have found grounded the entirety of the persecution narrative on this aspect of covenant theology. A key question I set out to answer was, why did Charles II hate the Covenanters so much? The answer to this question had elements that were both surprising and characteristic of kings in general and specifically the Stuart monarchy as a whole. The major types of evidence I found most useful were from period written texts, most of which came from covenant writers such as Samuel Rutherford and George Gillespie. Other writers from the period helped to shine light on the general public with sources from writers such as John Milton and sermons from Alexander Peden. I also focused on using parliamentary speeches and government decrees to grasp the intent of the various governing parties, remembering this period of Scottish history is filled with political change. The research method I used was grounded research. I chose this method because I like the evidence to direct my work. I try to stay as open as possible to what the source material shows. I often end up changing my research question and handfuls of sources that more relevant ones as they present themselves in the research. My main conclusion is that covenant intolerance directly affected the way the general public viewed the Covenanters. The parliamentarians of which they were allies with also found them to be alienating due to their strict adherence to their method of biblical interpretation and government style. Additionally, Charles II and his vendetta against the Covenanters makes sense from the standpoint of his own belief in the divine rights of kings. This authority cannot be usurped and then let stood. Some of the evidence I find disturbing and other parts I admire, such as the Covenanters' will to adhere strongly to the Scriptures even when everyone else around finds them distasteful. Additional questions raised from my research deal with why the Covenanters chose to bring back Charles II without vetting his intentions. The Covenanters did bring back to power the person who in turn ran them down and destroyed their church government and freedom. This I find an interesting point, seeing as so much of their livelihood rode on the intentions of the next leader of the two kingdoms. Thank you for taking a listen, and have a good day.